Today we're checking out some of the best cases available for the Pixel 9. Now keep in mind there's a lot of good cases out there, so this is probably going to be part 1. All these cases are going to work on the Pixel 9 or the Pixel 9 Pro, but I'll leave a link down below for everything covered in today's video. So let's go ahead and get started. The official silicone case comes in several different colors. The one shown here is called the Hazel, but it looks gray in person. It's got a really nice soft touch of material on the outside. Soft, almost felt-like material on the inside. It does flex a little bit, but a lot more rigid than I was expecting. It does have a little bit of play there on the sides. Not much though. Really nice screen protection on all sides. It also sticks up just enough to protect the camera visor on the back. You can see the buttons on the side match the Google logo. Feels like a metal material. They've got some nice clickiness to them. You barely have to push on the buttons to get them to work. Looks like a large enough opening on the bottom for the charging port and speaker as well. It has a really nice clean design to it. Probably one of my favorites as far as how the case looks. Pretty lightweight at 30 grams. It weighs 228 grams with the case on. And of course, it's going to work with wireless charging. I feel like it's got plenty of grip with this case. Definitely an improvement over the official cases a couple years ago. I feel like the only thing they need to add to this case is a magnet in the back so you can use MagSafe accessories. The super thin case by Mouse also works with MagSafe accessories. It comes in several colors. The one shown here is Sage. It's not quite the same color as the wintergreen on the back of the Pixel 9. It's got a little more bluish, almost teal color to it. It has a soft felt material on the inside. Technically this is made for the Pro version, but it still works for the regular Pixel 9. You'll notice the buttons are exposed on the side. Not sure if I like these as much as the buttons that are covered, but they still seem to work pretty good. Pretty minimal screen protection all the way around. It's got a really nice clean look to it. It has a soft touch material on the back and on the sides. Looks like it has just enough protection for the cameras on the back as well. Nice and large opening for the charging port. Feels sort of like a silicone case, obviously thinner and a little bit harder material though. I feel like the magnet on the back is pretty strong. It should work for most things. It seems to hold on pretty good as long as you don't shake it too much. If you have a magnetic car mount, I think this should work fine. The case only weighs 28 grams, 227 with the case on. And like I said earlier, I don't know if you're gonna find a case thinner and lighter than this one. Probably one of my favorite style of cases is the Caseology Nano Pop, but this time I thought I would try out Black Sesame. They typically have a larger area here around the cameras. This time it's just a little ring going around. It still looks pretty good in my opinion. It's a fairly flexible TPU material. I like that they made it a little bit thinner than some of the Nano Pop cases from the past. It's got a smooth matte finish to it. It still has the little bumps on the edges, which give it really good grip. It might be hard to see, but there's just a little bit of branding there on the side. I always like the look on the back of these cases. Just really nice and clean design to it. It does have a little bit of flex there on the edges. It also has just enough screen protection, so you don't have to worry about it getting all scratched up when you put this face down. Volume and power buttons are covered up by the soft TPU material. The buttons do have nice clickiness to them. Probably the best part about this case is just the grip on the sides. You've got a nice and large opening for the charging port on the bottom. The case itself weighs about 37 grams. Weighs about 237 grams with the case on. Of course, it's going to work with wireless charging. Overall, just a really nice, fairly thin case from Caseology with really good grip. Probably one of my most favorite cases on most phones is going to be the Spigen Thin Fit case. I chose the Abyss Green, but they've got black and metal slate as well. Even though this is one of the thinner cases out there, this one's nice and rigid, doesn't have much flex to it. There is just a little bit of play on the edges, not much though. It's got good screen protection all the way around. Probably one of my favorites as far as how easy the buttons work. They stick out plenty so you don't really have to look where they're located. I feel like Spigen always does a really nice job with their buttons. It's also a nice clean design here on the back. You can see there's just enough protection for the camera visor there on the back as well. Nice cutout on the bottom for the charging port. It's got sort of a soft touch material on the back. Feels nice and grippy on the edges. Easily one of the lighter cases at only 26 grams. Weighs in at 226 grams with the case on. And of course, it's gonna work with wireless charging. Again, probably one of my favorite cases from Spigen. Now this MagSafe mouse case has several different things you can put on the back, like carbon fiber, black speckled, leather, bamboo. The one shown here is walnut, nice and soft microfiber material on the inside. Probably one of my favorites as far as how the case looks. It just feels a little more premium than some of the others out there. It's a fairly rigid case. I feel like the sides could be a little bit more flexible or a little bit more rubberized, but it does have these little ridges that help give you a little better grip. It's got plenty of screen protection all the way around. I'm pretty sure that's got to be a decal where the wood is. Weird thing is, it almost feels like a real wood. Nice thing about this case, it's almost all the way flush on the back, so you don't really have a big bump from the camera. You do have just a little bit of a rim there around the cameras for extra protection though. It's really tough to beat these buttons as far as how clicky they are, and they just don't take much effort to use. Probably one of the largest as far as the opening for the charging port. The case does feel a little bit thicker. It weighs about 43 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 243 grams with the case on. This also works with MagSafe accessories. Looks like it does fall off if I shake it a little bit, so the magnet could be a little bit stronger. Not bad though. Even though this is a thicker case, you can still use battery share if you need to charge headphones or other accessories there on the back. Really, to me, the only improvement would be to make it a little bit grippier on the sides, but overall, design-wise, this is easily one of my favorite cases. The UAG Pathfinder case comes in two different colors, black, and the one shown here is olive green. This one has a really nice and rugged design on the back of it, super rigid, it doesn't really flex at all. But then on the sides, it's got a more flexible TPU material. As you can see, this also works with MagSafe accessories. Probably one of the better ones as far as how much screen protection it has. It also gets rid of a lot of the bump here on the back from the camera visor, but it still has good protection for the cameras. It's actually really nice how far the power and volume buttons stick out on here. These buttons are super clicky and they don't take much effort to use. I've tried some other UAG cases in the past. This one definitely feels like a step up from some of those others I've tested. This one also has a really nice and large opening for the charging port and speaker on the bottom. You can see there's bumps on the sides to give it extra grip. It is a harder TPU material on the edges, but probably just flexible enough so that it has grip. About 42 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 241 grams with the case on. The magnet feels pretty strong on here, but if I shake it, it does fall off, so it could be a little bit stronger there on the back. Not bad though. Even though this is a thicker case, you can still use battery share if you need to charge headphones or other accessories there on the back. Overall, just a really nice rugged looking case, but yet still fairly thin, by UAG. Now, if you're looking for a magnetic case, this one by Torres comes in black or clear. Personally, I don't think their clear case has enough grip, but that's just me. It's fairly rigid. It does have a little bit of flex to it, harder plastic shell there on the back. It's got just enough screen protection on all sides. You've also got a couple other color options for the buttons as well. Probably some of the better ones as far as how easy the buttons are to use. Probably could stick out just a tad more though. It's a pretty clean design here on the back. You can also see a little bit of the color showing through. You've also got plenty of protection there around the cameras. It's also tapered here on the edges. Kind of makes it look like the previous gen Pixel phones. Nice oversized cutout for the charging port on the bottom. The case itself weighs about 36 grams. It weighs about 236 grams with the case on. Of course, it's going to work with wireless charging. This might be one of the strongest magnets out of all the cases. Overall, just a really nice MagSafe case by Torres. If you have a MagSafe phone mount for your car, this is probably the case to get. As you can see, the Rugged Armor case by Spigen, they finally redesigned it. This new one looks way better. Comes in matte black, or the one shown here is marble gray. A little bit rougher texture here right on the back, carbon fiber accents on the top and bottom. And then you have some nice ridges here along the sides. It's all a somewhat flexible TPU material. It's got a little bit of flex there on the sides. Fairly thin around the screen, but seems to have just enough screen protection. It's a fairly thin case, but it still takes away a lot of that bump on the back from the camera visor. It also has some nice little ridges on the power and volume buttons. They've got some nice clickiness to them. The texture also makes it easy to find the location of the buttons. Oversized cutout for the charging port as well. It's definitely got a lot of nice texture on it to give it extra grip. And of course, it's going to work with wireless charging. About 35 grams for the case itself, so pretty lightweight. It weighs about 235 grams with the case on. If you're just looking for a lightweight, fairly thin TPU case, but still has good grip, I feel like this one's a pretty good option. The Cyril Ultra Color case comes in 4 different colors. The one shown here is Kale. I like the matte texture on this one. Okay, so you don't really want to squeeze this case. Otherwise your protection for the camera is going to pop right out. That's just a plastic piece. Luckily it looks like it just snaps right back in. Once you put the case on the phone, it actually has a really nice design around the cameras. Sort of reminds me of the NanoPop case from Caseology. This also has some rougher texture here on the sides, but it's got really nice grip on the edges. Pretty minimal as far as screen protection goes. You can see the power and volume buttons are covered by the TPU material. They've got some really nice clickiness to them as well. You've also got an oversized cutout for the charging port. About 32 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 232 grams with the case on. And of course, it works with wireless charging. Overall, just a really nice thin TPU case by Cyril. Another thin TPU case that's got really good grip is the Afflex case by Caseology. I believe they redesigned this last year. It's a little bit thinner and it's more lightweight now. Still has that grippy texture on the back and on the sides though. It's a softer TPU material, so it's got quite a bit of flex to it. This is probably one of the most grippy cases that I've tested. It's got a bunch of little dots and rougher texture, almost like sandpaper. It's going to be tough to find a case with better grip than this one. It's got a really nice clean design to it. Pretty minimal screen protection. You can see the power and volume buttons are covered by the TPU material. Probably could stick out a little bit further, but not bad. Plus they have some nice clickiness to them as well. Plenty large enough there on the opening for the charging port. It's pretty flat. You can barely even tell that the camera bump sticks out as much, but it still has just enough protection for the cameras. About 41 grams for the case itself. Weighs about 240 grams with the case on. Overall, just a really nice thin TPU case with really good grip by Caseology. And of course, it's going to work with wireless charging. Now if you're looking for a clear case so you don't cover up the back of your phone, the Spigen Ultra Hybrid with the MagFit design, which works with MagSafe accessories, obviously by the part that's in white here on the back. This one's super rigid, doesn't flex at all, and then it has a softer TPU material around the edges. As you can see, pretty simple design to it. Actually looks really good on the phone. Also has decent grip on the sides. I know I tried the clear one from Torres. That one's super slippery. Looks like it's got just enough protection to go around the cameras. You can see the power and volume buttons are covered by the TPU material. The buttons are really nice on this one. They've got some nice clickiness to them as well. Fairly snug fit with this case. Also has plenty of screen protection on all sides. Nice and large opening for the charging port. Nice thing is you don't really see fingerprints on the back of this one, especially with the lighter colors. Of course, this works with wireless charging. I feel like the magnet's just strong enough on this case. Could always be a little bit stronger in my opinion. About 41 grams for the case itself. Weighs in at 241 grams with the case on. Kind of a hard decision because there's so many cases with the magnet on the back now. But if you're looking for a clear case, I would definitely choose this one over some of the others I've tested.
So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.